Welcome to WikiPodcast. Today we're plunging into the life of one of history's most visionary artists, Vincent van Gogh. You've probably seen his iconic swirling brushstrokes and vivid colors, but have you ever truly considered the profound personal turmoil that often shaped those masterpieces?
It's a truly fascinating line, isn't it? The one between um, genius and intense suffering. Our mission today is to explore his tragic yet incredibly impactful life, uncover some surprising facts behind his artistic journey, and understand how his unique perception changed the way we look at beauty and even suffering itself.
That's a powerful way to frame it. As we deep dive into his story, that tension between inner turmoil and artistic expression will become incredibly clear. So let's go back to the very beginning. Before the brushstrokes, there was this intense period of searching and struggle. Vincent Willem van Gogh was born in Groot-Zundert, Netherlands in 1853, the oldest surviving child of a Dutch Reformed church minister. What stands out to you about these formative years, especially knowing he was given the same name as a brother who was still born exactly a year before?
Oh, that detail about his name is quite poignant, isn't it? It hints at a certain weight, maybe a melancholy, right from the very beginning. What's truly insightful here is how his deep empathy for the common person, particularly the impoverished, and his intense spiritual quest, though pretty unconventional, were already shaping the core of who he was. He was described as a serious, quiet, thoughtful child, but also, well, already showing signs of a sensitive, perhaps even unstable, mental state. His early interest in drawing was there, encouraged by his mother, though his initial works, they lacked the later intensity we now recognize. He actually described his youth, especially his time at boarding schools, as austere and cold and sterile.
Sounds like a restless spirit from the start. And his early career path was anything but stable, wasn't it? He tried his hand as an art dealer, initially finding success and happiness, even earning more than his father at one point. But then he grew deeply depressed, fundamentally resenting the commercialization of art, which ultimately led to his dismissal. And from there, he pivoted dramatically to religion.
Indeed, a huge shift. He became a missionary in the bleak coal mining district of Bornage in Belgium. And his dedication was, well, absolute. He gave up comfortable lodgings to live in a small hut, sleeping on straw, all to truly immerse himself and support his impoverished congregation. This radical empathy, however, actually led to his dismissal for undermining the dignity of the priesthood. It's almost ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, too dedicated, too zealous for the establishment, the ultimate nonconformist, even then. I can imagine his parents' concern must have been huge. Didn't his father even suggest committing him at one point?
He did, sadly. His father, likely overwhelmed by Vincent's intensity and unconventional choices, even suggested committing him to a, quote, lunatic asylum in Geel. So you can see how these deeply felt experiences of failure, rejection, and this profound empathy for the struggling masses laid the emotional and spiritual groundwork for his later artistic themes. He wasn't just observing hardship, he was living it, internalizing it. And it was around this point, 1880, that he truly committed to art as his calling, with that crucial encouragement from his brother Theo.
Right, Theo. Always there. So after all these personal upheavals, he finally decides to embrace art seriously, even studying anatomy and classical rules in Brussels. But his personal and artistic turmoil continued, didn't it? Especially during his time in Etten and The Hague.
Absolutely. His life was a constant intersection of artistic drive and personal heartache. It never really stopped. Take, for example, his unrequited love for his recently widowed cousin, Kay Vostricker. She refused him with those chilling words, "No, nay, never." His despair was so profound that he dramatically held his hand in a lamp flame, apparently driven largely by his inability to support himself financially.
Wow. That paints such a vivid picture of an artist so fiercely committed, yet still battling internal demons and, well, external judgment too. Even his brief mentorship with the successful artist Anton Mauve ended badly, didn't it? Over hiring models from the street.
Yeah, they fell out over that. Vincent was unconventional, always. And then his relationship with Klasina Maria Seen-Hornick, an alcoholic prostitute.
Right, he lived with her, and she had children. That caused huge family conflict, I imagine.
It certainly did. He supported her and her kids, which further alienated him from his family, especially his father. He eventually left her, though, driven by poverty and feeling it conflicted with his artistic development. Then, in his Neuen period, from about 1883 to 1885, he focused intensely on painting and drawing the lives of peasants, weavers, their cottages. You see it in works like the Parsonage Garden at Noonan.
And it was during this time he painted The Potato Eaters, his first major work. Really captures that deep connection to peasant life. But his brother Theo found its palette too dark, almost muddy, right? A contrast to the brighter Impressionist style emerging then.
Exactly. It really highlights his early individuality, even if Theo didn't quite get it then. And the local controversies just kept piling up, didn't they? A peasant sitter became pregnant, Van Gogh got accused, and the village priest told parishioners not to model for him anymore. Then, a neighbor he wanted to marry, Margot Bateman, attempted suicide after their families disapproved. The weight of these struggles was just immense.
It really followed him. To Antwerp in 1885 as well. What strikes me is a sheer dedication despite just profound personal hardship. He lived in extreme poverty, prioritizing art supplies over food, which even led to, like, loose and painful teeth.
It's almost unbelievable, isn't it? The man who would eventually paint such vibrant, life-affirming scenes was literally sacrificing his physical well-being just to get paint on canvas. He tried to broaden his palette there, studying Rubens, incorporating Japanese ukiyo-e woodcuts, but he also resumed heavy drinking, needed hospitalization, possibly for syphilis. But what's really telling about his character, I think, is his confrontational approach at the Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp. When asked to draw the classical Venus de Milo, he produced a limbless, naked torso of a Flemish peasant woman, apparently shouting at his teacher.
Huh. It speaks volumes about his deep, almost rebellious commitment to his own artistic vision, even against academic authority. Okay, so connecting this to the bigger picture. Moving to Paris in 1886 was crucial. Sharing an apartment with Theo, meeting all these artistic revolutionaries, Gauguin, Seurat, Toulouse-Lautrec, this wasn't just social, it was a vibrant intellectual exchange.
Absolutely. That's where he really got exposed to cutting-edge movements like Impressionism, with its focus on light and fleeting moments, and that structured, color theory-driven pointillism. And this led to a dramatic shift in his style, a much brighter palette, bolder brushwork. He also became utterly captivated by Japanese ukiyo-e woodblock prints, those vibrant, often flat perspective prints. He collected hundreds, incorporating their bold composition, their colors into his own work. He called it Japanesery.
So even amidst this artistic blossoming, the personal struggles continued. Theo found living with him almost unbearable.
Yeah, the relationship with Theo was intense, full of friction despite the deep bond. Yet, despite the chaos, this period culminated in a significant exhibition where he actually exchanged work with Gauguin. He left Paris having painted over 200 works in just 2 years.
Incredible productivity. It's a testament to his rapid absorption and experimentation, really synthesizing diverse influences. He was laying the groundwork for his unique visual language.
Exactly, a period of intense artistic growth, despite the continued personal chaos.
Yeah.
And this brings us to Arles, a time of both breathtaking artistic output and, well, profound crisis.
Right. Arles. In 1888, his health wasn't great, the drinking, the smoker's cough, so he sought refuge in Arles in southern France. He envisioned it as a haven, an artistic colony. And this became one of his most prolific periods, 200 paintings, over 100 drawings and watercolors. His work just exploded with rich yellows, ultramarine, mauve, painting harvests, wheat fields, landmarks like the old mill.
He even leased those 4 rooms, famously depicted as the Yellow House. He dreamed of turning it into a gallery for his work, producing iconic pieces like Van Gogh's chair, bedroom in Arles, and the night cafe, which he said was meant to express the idea that the cafe is a place where one can ruin oneself, go mad, or commit a crime.
Wow.
And his intense anticipation of Paul Gauguin's visit was central to this dream. He painted 4 versions of sunflowers in just a week, hoping for this true artistic partnership.
But the dream just dissolved into a nightmare, didn't it? The relationship with Gauguin deteriorated rapidly. Vincent feared abandonment. Gauguin was domineering. Excessive tension, as it was described, which led to the infamous ear incident in December 1888. After an altercation, Van Gogh severed part, or maybe all, of his left ear with a razor, and then delivered it to a young cleaning girl at a brothel.
It's truly tragic, a convergence of artistic hope and just profound mental anguish. It was found unconscious, treated by Dr. Felix Ray. The diagnosis, acute mania with generalized delirium. The local police ordered him into hospital care after, get this, 30 townspeople petitioned, calling him the red-headed madman. Gauguin left Arles. They never saw each other again.
The isolation must have been crushing. And yet, how did Vincent, even in these moments of profound struggle and confinement, manage not only to produce so much work, but also reach new artistic heights? After all, he voluntarily entered the Saint Paul de Mazolle Asylum in May 1889. He used one of his cells as a studio. The clinic, the garden, became his subject's vestibule of the asylum, lilacs.
It's truly remarkable, isn't it? Works from this period, like the iconic The Starry Night, often feature those swirling brushstrokes we know so well. And they aren't just decorative. They convey this palpable sense of movement and intense emotion, almost a visual representation of his turbulent inner world. He also painted cypresses and olive trees during supervised walks, cypresses, olive trees with the alpilles in the background. When outside subjects were scarce, he created interpretations of other artists' paintings, like Millet's The Sower or Noonday Rest. He compared his copies to a musician interpreting Beethoven, and his famous Sorrowing Old Man at Eternity's Gate from this time, it powerfully reflects remembrances of times long past.
Even with a severe relapse between February and April 1890, where he was depressed, couldn't even write, he still managed to paint and draw. His late paintings show an artist at the absolute height of his abilities, longing for concision and grace, as one description puts it. And maybe the most surprising fact from this period, in his last year, his work started getting real attention, critical acclaim even.
Yes, that's crucial. Albert Aurier praised him as a genius in a January 1890 review. He was invited to exhibit in Brussels, and his paintings in Paris led Claude Monet himself to declare his work the best in the show. So even in the midst of illness and confinement, his genius was finally beginning to break through, to be recognized. It speaks to an incredible inner drive that just transcended everything.
So, May 1890, Vincent leaves the asylum. He moves closer to Theo under the care of Dr. Paul Gachet, an amateur painter himself, in Auvers-sur-Oise. Though Vincent's first impression of Gachet was that he seemed iller than I am, or let's say just as much.
Yeah, classic Van Gogh observation. And during his final weeks there, he painted about 70 oils in as many days. A staggering final burst of creativity, portraits of Dr. Gachet, landscapes like Daubigny's garden, possibly his final work, some pieces harking back to memories of the North.
His later writings mention vast fields of wheat under turbulent skies, representing his sadness and extreme loneliness. Wheat field with crows. Although maybe not his very last painting, it's deeply associated with that feeling. The dark palette, heavy strokes, you feel a menace.
Such a powerful visual metaphor for his state of mind. Then, on July 27, 1890, aged just 37, he shot himself in the chest with a revolver. Despite medical attention, an infection set in. He died 2 days later, on July 29. According to Theo, his last words were heartbreaking. The sadness will last forever.
So tragic. He was buried in Auvers-sur-Oise. His brother Theo, whose own health declined rapidly after Vincent's death, he suffered from syphilis, died just months later. Theo's widow, Johanna van Gogh, had Theo reburied alongside Vincent in 1914, a powerful symbol of their bond.
Absolutely. And the debates about his illness continue, of course. Bipolar disorder, epilepsy, porphyria, likely worsened by malnutrition, overwork, insomnia, alcohol. We may never know for sure, but his legacy, that is just undeniable.
Completely. His posthumous fame grew steadily, hugely thanks to his sister-in-law, Johanna. She tirelessly curated and promoted his work, a real hero in his story. His powerful letters, published in 1914, helped cement that image of the intense, dedicated painter suffering for his art.
And his influence on 20th century art is profound. Think Fauvism, German Expressionism. They owe him a huge debt. Culturally, things like Irving Stone's novel Lust for Life, the film, Don McLean's song Vincent, Starry, Starry Night, they brought him into popular consciousness. And today his works are among the world's most expensive paintings. Such a stark contrast to the fact that only one painting, The Red Vineyard, supposedly sold during his lifetime.
It's an incredible turnaround. And the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, established in 1973, holds the world's largest collection, a lasting testament. So what does this all mean for us, the learners of today? How does the story of Vincent van Gogh, this convergence of madness and masterpiece, continue to resonate with you? Thanks for listening. Write us your opinion in the comments on how do you think Vincent van Gogh's personal struggles ultimately shaped the revolutionary art he left behind, and what does that mean for how we perceive beauty and suffering today? Subscribe to the channel to help more listeners reach our episodes. Thank you, and have an amazing day.